Mr. James and I are going to write a song, it doesn't mean that we have to follow all of the rules to the letter. I just have to be able to explain it. So the rules that go along with composing music are not there to limit your creativity. They're just there so that you can share it. You can figure out a way to share what you're doing with somebody else, okay? That's a really important part of this that I want to cover with you. So there are a couple of really important steps when it comes to writing music that are generally true and that you can use when you're creating your own music. And that's what I kind of wanted to take this class's approach on. Here are some rules that you can follow to help you create your own songs that will consistently have a good sound to them. Do you ever sit down? I do this all the time. I sit down at the piano and I hear this sound in my head and I play that and I go, oh, wow, that's so cool. Like maybe I'll take that chord from last week, right? That add 2 chord with that 7 in it. I'll put that in there. I go, wow, that's so cool. And then I'll do something else and I'm like, well, those don't really go together. No, it's not so great. This class here is going to give you some ideas to help mesh multiple ideas together to create longer songs out of them. So, number 1, and you'll hear this throughout the week. Everything that we talked about.
We lost the audio.
We lost the audio.
Or I don't know why. I don't know if it's on my side or if it's on your side, but
we can definitely hear you.
Everybody
can you hear it?
Okay. Am I coming?
Okay.
Yes? Okay. Make sure your volume is turned all the way up, and that if in Zoom you have to select your audio. A lot of times if you're using maybe an external speaker or headphones, it'll glitch out sometimes. But make sure your audio is turned all the way up. We're not going to be playing any super loud sound, so it shouldn't hurt your speakers or your ears or anything like that. Okay, so here are some things that you'll hear a lot when you're listening to music this week, and these are sort of the things that we're going to go through today. Number 1, most melodies are arranged in stepwise motion. Okay, that's number 1. Most melodies are arranged in stepwise motion. Zoe, I don't believe that I've had the pleasure of having you in one of our classes before. What instrument do you play? Have you been studying? Let's see, can I unmute you from over here? I don't think so.
Piano.
The piano. Okay, fantastic. What kinds of songs have you been working on?
I'm working on songs in a Disney book.
Very cool. I love those. I love those themed books from different things. And like there's a Disney book. I have a couple of like Lord of the Rings books for my cello that I love. I play through those a lot. There's a lot of great stuff out there. So for all of my piano people, and I think pretty much everybody hears piano, what does stepwise motion mean? Let's see some hands. What is stepwise motion? Don't everybody raise your hand at once. All right, Jacob, what is stepwise motion? You're gonna have to unmute yourself real quick. There we go.
Stepwise motion is like having the melody or the chords that they flow together by by skipping steps, obviously. So like 1 to 4 to 5.
Okay, right. So that's part of it. Stepwise motion, though, specifically is
moving moving through chords from one chord to another or one note to another. So
you're 90% of stepwise motion is part of a voice leading technique that we use. Good job. That's half of it. That's like 98% of it. It's way more than half. Stepwise motion is specifically when you're moving from one letter or one scale degree to the next one, forwards or backwards. What you're talking about is having chords and making them flow smoothly together. Can be done in stepwise motion, but that's more of a voice leading technique. So stepwise motion is going from one letter name to the next letter name. Okay, so going from A to B, keys that are right next to each other, stepwise motion. Going from F to E, notes that are right next to each other, stepwise motion. An example of what would not be stepwise motion are just picking keys at random all over the keyboard. And this creates sort of a dissonant kind of sound. It can be used effectively, but in a majority of the time, stepwise motion, going from one letter name to the next, is the big way to do that. Now, here's a couple examples of songs that you'll recognize that include stepwise motion. Now, this one's for you. We've been working on this one in your classroom. This song is all stepwise motion. We started this just the other day. All those notes, they're right next to each other. They belong with each other. You don't have to jump to reach one way over here. Another example, maybe some classical music, would be like Ode to Joy, right? Stepwise motion. The melodic notes are all one letter to the next one, right? Most of our music today, I want you guys to listen. Here's part of your homework. Homework part 1. All right, write this down. Homework part 1. In all of the music that you listen to it and ask yourself, are all of these notes close together? Are they stepwise motion for the most part? Or do they jump around to random notes all over the place? Now, there are leaps and jumps in music, but a majority of them, I think you'll find, will be stepwise. But I want you to listen to your particular favorite songs, your music, whatever you're listening to this week, and ask yourself, are my songs mostly stepwise motion or not? And then give me some titles, some examples. So you might say, I listened to Tchaikovsky's, Second Symphony this week, and it was mostly stepwise motion. Whatever the song is, whatever you want, it's totally fine. You pick whatever it is, but I want you to give me 1 or 2 examples of songs that you listened to that you heard stepwise motion in, okay? So that's homework part 1. The next rule that we follow when it comes to writing music is moving in a specific size. When we do take leaps, moving in a specific distance from one chord to the next. The reason we do this is because our ears in Western music have been sort of pre-programmed to really enjoy some things and to really dislike some other things. From a very young age, just based on the kind of music that we listen to over time, we begin to pick up patterns and things that our ears really like. So, for example, if I play this combination here, your ears like it. It doesn't reject any of those sounds as too dissonant or too awful. If I do this, maybe not your most favorite thing ever. It can still be cool. Maybe not your most favorite. We have a consistent distance that we move for each of our chords. How many people here play sports? I know Jacob and Caleb, you guys play basketball. Amanda, do you play sports? Yes! Okay, Zoe, how about you?
Soccer.
Soccer? Okay, now, soccer is my favorite sport. I've never been good at sports, like ever. They're not my thing, not what I'm good at, but I like to do it. Now, soccer was always my favorite because I could be the goalie, right? And I just stand in front of a net and scare people away. Like, that was the easiest job ever. That was good. But in sports, you guys have certain techniques that you use, right? Like, dribbling a basketball. There's a special way to do it to make it work better, right? Dribbling a soccer ball. There's a special way to do it to make it work right. If you play baseball, we have a special technique for you to swing the bat. You don't just grab a stick and wave it at the ball, right? There's a special way to do it. Here is a special way that you can move through your chords, and it's very simple. We call it movement of a fourth, right? So we talked about steps being right next to each other. Movement of a fourth is moving 4 keys away from where you are. Here's an example. If I start with letter C, my next note that's a fourth away, and I can go a fourth up or down, it doesn't matter. My fourth from C, if I go up, is going to take me to letter F. Now, if I make chords with those, my ears like it. They're like, yeah, that's good, that's cool. Ears are happy with that. Now, if I go a fourth down from here, I'm going to get stuck because I'm going to go back to C. So let's go another fourth up. We'll go from C, up another fourth takes us to F, up one more fourth takes us to B, and we go another fourth, E. And this takes us through a series of chords that our ears are like, yes, that's okay, that's good. What happens if we go a fourth down? If I go a fourth down from C, that gets me to G. If I go another fourth, again to A. This sequence, this moving in series of fourths, our ears really like. So a lot of the songs that you'll hear out there today follow some sort of chord progression that's at least a majority of it is based around the idea of fourths, moving from one chord to the next chord and trying to get there via a fourth. Okay, so those are the two rules so far that I find really useful when I'm trying to sit down at my keyboard and do something creative. You can do this with a guitar too, a guitar, a piano, pretty much any instrument that you can play chords on. You can use these rules that we're going over. So the first one is stepwise motion. Rule number one, when making melodies, try to use stepwise motion. Number two, our harmonies, our chords should move in fourths. Always in fourths, as much as possible. I won't say always, I retract that, not always. But as much as we can, our chords should move in fourths. Okay, now, I've got a couple of questions from the content that we've covered so far. Everybody's gonna get a turn to answer, and if you answer the question correctly, or mostly correctly even, you can have a point for your class today. Now, everybody, you should already know where we have a thumbs up, emoji here. We've got an applause emoji here. If you guys don't know where they are, that's at the bottom of the screen on your menu, whether you're using a computer or a phone, it doesn't matter. Tap your screen or move your mouse to the bottom of the screen. There should be a panel that says reactions. Open that up and you'll have these ready. After somebody answers a question, let's make sure we give them some support. Sometimes it's a little bit scary, I know, being under the gun. I'm gonna call you guys out and ask you questions. Let's make sure we support our classmates and let them know we appreciate their answers, okay? Let's see, who wants to go first? Who's gonna volunteer? All right, it's Zoe. Very good, let's get you unmuted. All right, so we have two rules that we've talked about so far. Stepwise, and they've both had the same sort of theme, the same purpose behind them. Why do we follow rules in general when it comes to writing music or creating music?
Because it kind of sounds better.
That's exactly correct. When we follow rules, when we follow some sort of pattern or template in music, as a general rule, the finished product comes out a lot better than just taking random ideas and trying to put them together. And so we have some rules. Very good. I'm gonna give you some applause because that was fantastic. Everybody else, I want you either to give her some applause or a thumbs up. She did a great job with that question. All right, who's going next? All right, Mr. Caleb, it's your turn. Now, Caleb and I have done a couple of collaborations where he's written some music and we've worked together to kind of refine it a little bit. Go ahead and unmute yourself, Caleb. Here is your question. So we've talked about our two rules, stepwise motion, chords moving in fourths. Why, perhaps, would we break one of these rules? Now remember, these rules are here to generally guide us, right? We can break these rules, and we talked about this at the beginning of class, for a couple of reasons, but these rules are more like guidelines. What are some things that you can think of that we would break the rules for?
We would break the rules to like explain like what the music is.
So that's why we have the rules, and you're on the. We have rules so that we can explain what's going on and what's happening. But why would we break the rules or maybe alter one of the rules? Why would we do that?
Well,
I'll let you think about that a little bit, and I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna re-explain some things just a little bit. Jacob, did you have a question?
Oh no, I was just saying I could answer it.
Okay, well, why don't you guys go ahead and mute yourself. Why don't you talk about it? I want you guys to work through that. I want to hear Caleb's thoughts on that, but I want you guys to work through that. I'm going to talk and explain a little bit about the beginning portion of the class again, because Caleb brought up a really good point. The rules are there so that we can explain what's happening, how we wrote something, what we wrote something. The rules aren't necessarily there to force you into a box. That's not very creative. It doesn't allow for very much new content, right? If we had to follow the rules exclusively all the time, there really wouldn't be much variety in music today, but we do have a lot of variety. So the reason we might break one of those rules might be along the lines of creativity, being creative with something. So that could be it. Caleb, are you ready? You got your answer?
Yes. We would break the rules so that so that music sounds different.
That's right. You're correct. We're going to break the rules so that we can create the sound that we want to have. Right? Everybody has a unique kind of sound, and you know, I told you all the time. This is one of my favorites. Major 7, add 2. I technically shouldn't and can't really use this in very many places, but I'm going to because I like it. And that's just me. But yes, you're absolutely right. The whole reason that we would break the rules is to create something that we like. And that's been, we talked a little bit about this last week, that's been the curve of music forever. Baroque music, here are the rules. Classical music comes around and goes, well, we don't like those rules. Let's change them. Romantic music comes around. Well, we don't like those rules. Let's change those. Then we have modern music, postmodern, all that stuff. All right. Yeah. And then is Samara over there? Is she hiding?
Yeah.
Yes, she is. Hello, young lady. How are you today?
Good.
Good. Fantastic. Okay, Jacob. Now, we've talked about why we might break the rules. We know why we have the rules, and we know why we follow them. Right? And it's not just to explain them, but we can also really create a product as an outline that works really well for us. So, in your experience and based off of the information in this class, should we, even if we're being creative and we're trying to do something new, should we still sort of consult those rules and those guidelines when we're working on something? Or should we just write something and then go back and try to make all the rules fit it later?
You should first consult the rules so that you have like a base layout that, well, because the rules, it's appealing to everyone, but then when it changes and you like add like embellishments and make it different, then that's like what's the uniqueness of the song. So having like the rules first as like the layout or like the base of the song just helps to make the song a whole.
Absolutely correct. Fantastic job. Big, big happy for you. Very proud teacher right now. Very proud. Yes, we have the rules and we look at the rules first so that when we're putting it together, even if we get through the end of it and we're like, I'm not really like a huge fan of it, as far as music is concerned, it's still really great, right? And it helps us avoid some problems in the creative process if we just take a bunch of sounds that we like and put them together. Oops, turn my keyboard back up. I banged on it, so I turned it down. I like those 3 sounds. If I play them back to back, they don't really work. They don't work for me. So I need to have some rules and some progressions in order to put those together. And so yes, you are spot on. We need to kind of take the rules into consideration when we begin. And then as we go, we can kind of see how we're going to modify it, how we're going to be creative from there. Okay, Amanda, it is your turn. And then we're going to come back to Samara. Amanda, I have a question for you. Okay, in all of the music that we've played, we have a couple of different kinds of sounds. And we've talked about this very, very little bit. But the songs that we're playing have a special kind of sound. The songs that we've been playing, do they sound happy or are they sad songs? Okay, I don't know if she gave an answer.
She knows the answer. She's feeling a little shy. She's still getting used to the video comfort, but she's happy to her. She knows that they're happy.
Well, Amanda, we will come back.
She whispers the answer to me.
All right, we'll come back in just a minute and see if she wants to share with us a little bit. All right, Samara, it's your turn. All right, this is the end of point round number 1. Okay. When you're singing music, right? We talked about this last week, you and me. Last time you were here, we went over this. When we're singing music, we have techniques that we follow to help us do it better. And we've talked about music, we have rules that we follow to help us create something, to be creative with something. And we talked about all the different reasons why we might do that. What is part of the creative process we're breaking the rules, we're following the rules, we're kind of changing the rules, morphing the rules. We talked about why it's so that we can create a sound that we like. Why are we creating a sound that we like? What's the reason for that? Why would we do that? We'll come back to you guys in a second. Amanda and Samar, I'll let you guys think about it just a little bit, and I'm going to share with you the third thing, okay? Number 2. Or I'm sorry, number 3. I can't keep my numbers today. All right, so stepwise motion, moving in fourths. And this is going to tie in to my question for both of you, Samara and Amanda. There are various different kinds of chords, and we've talked about that in our classes. We have major chords, minor chords, happy chords, sad chords, sounds, all that kind of stuff. When you're combining them together, we've talked about you can't use just all of just one, all major chords. It gets old after a while. There's only so much you can do with that. We can't use all minor chords. That's just too depressing. Too much sadness all at once. It gets old. Trust me, it does. Even if you really like that kind of music, I do. It gets old. It really does. We have to use a combination of these, okay? And you have to be creative with how you're going to use them, okay? And this is the last rule that I want to talk about today. As a general rule, whatever scale you're playing in, use only those notes. Use only those notes. So we talked about stepwise motion, right? And if we're in the key of C, right, all of you my pianists out there, if we're in the key of C, you're only playing white keys. Only white keys. So if we're playing in the C of key and you're writing a song, you don't have to use F sharp. You don't have to use A flat. You don't have to borrow E flat. You don't have to use all of those. When you're getting started and you're creating your outline, yes, you can use some chords that are farther out there, but start with something a little bit easier. Start inside the key, and here's why. You won't get stuck. You won't get stuck. If you're playing along and you're using these chords, you know, C major, oh yes, I like it. We move a fourth, F, super cool. We go to B. Well, B sounds kind of funny. We can resolve that really easy. Let's follow the rule. Move a fourth. That takes us to E. Now maybe we'll do some stepwise motion with our chords. Don't know what to do? That's fine. Move a fourth. Yay! You got out of a hole. By only using chords that are in your key signature, you got out of a hole. And when you do that, automatically you have major and minor chords and a diminished chord in there too. That will give you plenty of variety. As soon as you start branching out into other key signatures and borrowing other chords, you run into the risk of maybe using too many of the same kind, or maybe wrong combinations of chords. There are wrong combinations. As far as the rules are concerned, there are wrong combinations that you can use. Now, from a creative standpoint, please use whatever chords that you really like from a creative standpoint. From a musical theory perspective, there are, at least I'll say, improper combinations. Okay, Samara, now that we've talked about that a little bit, why would you break the rules and write music that you like?
Break the rule so I can make that it can sound better, and
Why would we want it to sound better?
so people can like it.
Because we like it. That's right. That's all there is to it. I made it a trick question. I'm sorry. I gave you the really hard one. Thank you for answering. You totally nailed it. We break the rules and we write it different because we like it. And that's the reason people should be and are doing music. It's because they're looking for a way to express themselves, to be creative, to say things that they don't know how to say in words. And you have to put it together in a way that you like it. Okay, now, we have 3 rules. Let's sum those rules up. Number 1, stepwise motion, moving in stepwise motion for your melodies. Rule number 2, moving your chords in fourths as much as possible. That will give you really smooth sounding chords and you won't dig yourself into a hole. Number 3, keep your chords in the key signature as much as you can. You can, please, borrow chords from other key signatures, but the more you start doing that, the more you're going to get stuck, and you're not going to be able to unwind the chord that you put them in. Music is like a puzzle. Based on the rules that we have, it's like a puzzle. Once you go one direction, you have to figure out how to get back, but you can't just reverse the steps and go backwards. You have to, there's another path that you're going to have to take. I mean, you could just go backwards, but that wouldn't be very interesting. But if that's what you really wanted, you could. But the art of music is finding your way into a puzzle and being creative. That's the art part of music on the theory side. There's a lot of art that goes into music, but on the theory side is taking all the rules and all that stuff and finding ways inside the rules to complete the equation without just undoing it and going backwards. Okay. Now, here is the next way for you guys to earn 2 more points. Okay. Now, this is the first time that I've done 2 points as homework for over the week in one of these classes. You answered my round of questions, and they were not easy questions, so you all get a point for that. Everybody got their points. Great job. Here is what I want you to do over the week for practice, for homework, and you can earn up to 2 points for that. Who remembers what I said earlier was number 1 of their research? Who remembers? Who wrote it down? Caleb, what is our number 1 thing?
It was to find two examples of music that has stepwise motion.
That is correct. That's part 1. Listening to your music and listening to songs and saying, oh, these have stepwise motion, right? A majority of stepwise motion. Absolutely. That is number 1. Number 2, the second part of music. I'm sure you guys have seen, or at least you've heard of, or you've realized by now, a lot of our modern music, our pop, is actually the same chord progressions. It's a lot of the same chords that they're using over and over and over again to make their songs. So, why are they not all boring? Why are they not all the same thing? What's making them different? I want you to listen to your favorite songs over the course of this week, and I want you to write down why you like them. What is it about your music that you like? And it can be simple. It can be simple. It could be, I really like the lyrics. I feel like they speak to me. I feel like they tell my story. It can be something like, I really love how the music goes. But if that's your answer, I want you to be specific about what part. Okay? So I just love the tune. That's not going to cut it. I love the tune at this part because it makes me feel like this, okay? Not just I like the music. That doesn't count. You won't get a point for that. What I want you guys to do is figure out what it is about the music you listen to that you like. And I'll bet you've never done this before. You've never sat down with a pencil and a notepad, listening to your favorite song and writing a list of why you like it. I know I didn't. For the first almost 18 years of my life, I didn't really do that. I just listened to music and I thought, oh, I like that. That's cool. Next song. Oh, I like that one. That one's cool too. Next song. Why do you like it? And then see if you can figure out why, right? You might not know exactly why. So if your thing is, I love the tune, tell me what part and try to explain why you like it, right? I like it because the chords do this thing that I haven't heard in another song before and it makes me feel like this. Good answer. I like the song because the lyrics, tell a story that I really like. Good answer. I like this song because it makes me feel happy or hopeful because the lyrics are really good and the way the music comes together is really good. All of this is good things. Don't come back with, I just like this song because it's my favorite. I want you guys to think about it, okay? That's how you can earn 2 more points for this week. Number 1, listen to some songs, and I want 2 examples of songs that are in mostly stepwise motion. If you want some diversity there, maybe come back with one that's stepwise motion and give me an example of one that's not stepwise motion. That's totally different if you guys want to go that far. But at least give me 2 songs that are stepwise motion. And then take one of your favorite songs, at least one, and make a list of at least 5 things to why you like your song. Why you like it, what makes it sound good to you, what makes you feel good when you listen to it. I want to know why, and I want you to know why. And this is the important reason. I want you to know why you like your music so you can go find more music that you like. And I want you to know how to make music that you like. That's the kicker. I want you to know how to be creative with all of the stuff that you learn in your classes and make music that you love. Because that's going to be more rewarding than just making, turning the next page in your book and learning the next song, which is good. You need to do that. Don't get me wrong. Don't go back to your teachers. Hey, Mr. Alex said I didn't have to do the next page in my book. No. You need to do the next page in your book. But you also need to know what kind of music you like so you can figure out what music you want to play, why you want to play it, and eventually what kind of music you're going to want to write. How to create your own music that you really love. That's all I have for you guys today. Do your homework, do your research project, listen to your music this week, find some songs that are stepwise motion or maybe some that aren't, and then figure out why you like your favorite songs and why they're your favorites. And make a list of at least 5 things that you can identify that are reasons why you love the songs that you love, okay? That is your assignment, your research project for this week. Everybody did a fantastic job today. Yay, big round of applause. It's already starting. I don't have to kick it off. There we go. Yay. Any questions, any thoughts as we wrap up here? Doesn't look like it. Okay, make sure you're logging your time for the Summer Olympics. Make sure you're logging your practice hours. Make sure you're posting your practice hours. I did a horrible job. This morning, I finally posted my practice hours. You guys were having too much fun. I was watching everybody's videos and watching all their numbers go up on Facebook. You guys inspired me. I made a little chart and I posted my minutes this morning. I missed last week, but I did it today. I'm hoping to get some of my practice videos up there. That would be so much fun. Make sure you log your time for the Summer Olympics and make sure you get as much time as you can. Go to as many classes as you can, not just mine. Miss Elizabeth has classes. Shannon's got classes. Make sure you pop into those and you do those. Zoe, go ahead.
Does this count as minutes for the Summer Olympics?
If you're coming to my classes and you're doing the homework, yes, they count as minutes for your Summer Olympics.
Okay.
Absolutely, yeah. Any classes that you attend, Zoe, that you're actually doing the homework in and participating. If you do come to the guitar class, you do need a guitar to count that. You need to actively participate. Whereas this class, you can actively participate in. The vocal classes, you can actively participate. Your piano classes, you can actively participate. But if you don't have the instrument for the class, we don't count that as an active participation. But we still do encourage you to come to all those classes and try it. Borrow an instrument from somebody else. If you can show up with an instrument, even if it's broken, we'll work with it and we'll count that as practice minutes. So one thing I wanted to say is I'm going to mute on everybody here in just a second so we can talk. But for everybody who's real timid with the questions, trust your gut. I love that today music is emotional. So generally, if you're feeling like you might have the answer, trust it. It's okay if it's wrong. But like Samara, I love that the question that Alex asked, because to start with, I was like, I know this question. But the longer it waited, I was like, maybe I don't know this question. Maybe why would we play music that we like? Because we like it. Why would we move and force in a direction and a key signature that we like? Because it complements what we like. And, and sometimes I think that, when we're answering the questions, nobody be afraid to answer just what you like. We love hearing those, and there's no wrong answer to this. Generally it can all kind of tie into what's going on. So trust your gut and like what you're doing at. And if it's just like, if it's simple as, why would you play music that you like? Because I like music that I like. It's really, really good to do that. Caleb, I love for you, my starting, these are my notes today. Like, I don't know if everybody can see it, like they're all jumbled around. But to start with today, I had to write like title, Breaking the Rules. And keep that. And I love that when it came to your question, you're just like everybody, don't break the rules. I spent my life trying to stay to the rules because I relate to that. Like, don't break the rules. But again, with music, because it is, as Mr. Alex said, like there's every song out there right now, not every song, but a lot of the songs that we listen to have the same formula in them. But they've changed the rhythm, they've changed the order of the chords, but more specifically, they've changed the emotional concept of it. in each different song that we hear. So that's why we're like, I like Alex's answer of like, don't just pick a song that you're like, because it sounds good. Find out why it sounds good. Does it make you happy? Does it make you like, sad, or does it calm you down? There are reasons for that, even though it's the same chords, of how it arrives at emotional texture. And some of that is like, it happens inside of breaking the rules slightly, just and expanding on those areas that you really but I really appreciated the strength that you had with like, I can't say break the rules, because we can't break the rules. And I'm so grateful for today's class in giving a safe way to do that. And by using the stepwise. I love the explanation of the stepwise. And Jacob, I love your answer to it. You're a little bit further ahead of us today of like how to do stepwise in that. But, being very simple, again, like in using it and then deciding like the key signature, staying true to those chords. Really, really great stuff. But again, I just want to say, like, don't be afraid to have like the simple answer, because I'm going to have a simple answer. Generally, I'm not going to have anything over the top, because it doesn't have to be. So anyway, ask Zoe, what was your favorite part of the class today?
I like learning new tricks, making my song on the piano.
Learning the direction of how to play songs on the piano. That's awesome. Tamara, what was your favorite part of the class today?
What part?
There was just so much in it. It's hard to pick. I understand.
So
So much in it. I think my favorite part is going to be actually picking out 2 songs and actually writing it out and seeing what I come up with. I think I'm actually going to really be surprised with myself on that. So I'm excited about the homework, I think. So Jacob, what about you?
I was gonna say the same for
Yeah.
it's 2 songs.
Yeah, I think so. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. Mr. Alex, do you have anything else? I'm sorry, I kind of took over there.
No, just have fun with the homework. And like Mr. James was saying, sometimes and more often than not, it analyze the songs that you like, even if it's a simple reason, it's still a reason, and it's still valid. It's still a good reason for you. So enjoy the homework, enjoy the research. Be fun and exciting, and a little bit of self-discovery for you. But that's all that I have for you guys this week.
All right. Thank you so much, everybody on Facebook. Thank you for tuning in. We look forward to seeing everybody at our next class. Is going to be Monday at 1 o'clock with Miss Elizabeth. So anybody who tunes into that, we look forward to seeing you. And then I look forward to seeing everybody next Saturday in this class for the homework part. It's going to be fun. All right, guys. Have a great week. We will see you then.
All right, thank you.